Okay, so we've reached the trickier part of settings, and that is the saving your scanned photos to the folder you want. It should be a pretty simple thing, but if you're not doing this, you could end up scanning a bunch of stuff and putting it somewhere wrong or somewhere you don't even know where it's going. As you practice this, you will learn how to do this faster. It seems like a lot, but it's not too bad. So let's look at the first thing I'm saying before we even go try this. Before you sit down to scan a bunch of photos, what I'm calling a scanning session where you're going to scan like say 5 or 30 things. You just want to know how to check what kind of file, what type of file you are scanning, like what type of file is going to be an output from the process. And we probably just want that to be a JPEG file. So you want to double check that that's happening, and where your scanned outputs, I'm calling them, the files you make from the scans, where they're going. So what kind of file? We want that to be a JPEG, which I tell you down here, and where they're going. So what folder they're going to land in.
So when I take it out, I'm going to take it out in some.
Okay, so to check what type of file and where those scan files are going, we want to actually go ahead and click the scan button, which takes us to the file save settings. So we're going to tackle the easy thing first. We're going to tackle the image format of JPEG first, because that's easy, and then I'll tackle the harder thing of the where the scan stuff is going second. All right, so first we're going to just do this. Click the scan button. All right, so again, let's do this thing right here first. Let's talk about the image format. So in image format here, you want it to say JPEG. It's that simple. If it says something else, then reselect JPEG. Make sure that's what you got. That's how you do part A. Now let's talk about part B. Where are these scan files going? You've got three options. We've got a couple defaults of My Documents and Pictures. We don't really want to select those because you don't want to dump a bunch of random scan files in your My Documents folder because it just becomes a mess. We want to create a subfolder, a folder within a folder, or maybe a folder within a folder within a folder. But what we want to do probably is we're going to create a subfolder within Pictures, but we do that by clicking Other. Now we've already played with this and we already created a subfolder that is within Pictures, and you titled it Feb 2019-1. I told you to put a 1 for like folder 1. That's what that means. And then 600 DPI to indicate that during that sort of scanning session, however long it lasts, it could last 6 weeks, it could last a year, that those files are set at 600 DPI. It might be useful to know, it might be useful to put the DPI that you're using, just so that when you go look at those pictures later on, you can say, okay, this is what 600 DPI looks like. They look really good, or they don't look quite good enough, so I want to up that number to 720 DPI. So that's what that naming convention of that folder that you made yesterday is all about. But so if it's not on the right thing, how do we go and select a different folder? And how do we create a new folder? So we're going to do both of those really quickly. We're going to we are going to first select a different folder. And the way we do that is we click Other, we click Browse, and then we want to we're in this file browser. It could be that this is up like this and you can't find your pictures. You can go to this PC and click this arrow drop down that opens up all these other options. You can click Pictures. You could then click this arrow next to Pictures and drop it down to see all of its subfolders. So let's do that. Because right now it's just showing one folder that currently selected when you see that mirrored here, Feb 2019 600 DPI, Feb 29 600 DPI. It's only showing us one of the subfolders of Pictures, but let's go in and look at all of them. And we're going to change the folder destination. So I open that by clicking that down. I'm going to skip all of that, and we're going to go to a new folder. We're going to go to I'm going to go to San Francisco, June. I'm not going to scan anything into. I'm just showing you how to select a different folder. San Francisco, June 2009. And then I say, OK. And now you should see San Francisco, June 2009, Patricia Major has been selected. And if I hit OK, then it's going to scan whatever I'm doing into that. So that's how you select a different currently existing folder. But how do you make a new folder? Well, similar process. You go to Other, you make sure Other's selected, go to Browse. It opens up the file browser. Now remember, if all of this is closed and you're like, where are my pictures? Because that's where you want to go. You want to go to the Pictures folder. You can go to this PC and drop it down. And then now you've got your Pictures folder. You have that previously selected folders conveniently showing, but remember there's a bunch of other subfolders. But we don't even need to worry about what those are. What we want to do is say we're going to make a subfolder in Pictures, and we're going to click New Folder. And we're going to call this Kimbo New. I'm just going to call it Kimbo New subfolder. I'll add 600 DPI just because I think that's a good detail. And I'm going to hit the Enter key on the keyboard right now. Okay, and that made the name stick. And it's still selected. See how that's got the blue around it? It's selected. That's what you're trying to do here. And we're going to hit OK. So make sure it's selected, the folder you want. I want the Kimbo New subfolder, 600 DPI. Click OK. And now you see that's the folder that all my scans, probably from now on, if this sticks, are going to pop. They're going to go until I change it. And then I can hit OK. I'll go ahead and hit OK now. And that will, yeah, the scanner's blinking over on the left. That should scan the file there using the settings that we had previously established in other sessions. And we're going to go look and see where this goes. We're going to go look from a different perspective. The scanning software will actually open the folders up for you, which is cool. The destination folder where you've saved it. So let's look at it really quickly. It shows us how we're in this PC. We're looking at the breadcrumbs. These are breadcrumbs right here. This PC, and then into the picture folder. And then there's another folder into which this scan has been placed. So I'm going to shut that and we're going to go to it again, just straight from this folders button here. So I'm going to click folders. This takes us to quick access. Luckily the pictures are open. If the quick access isn't open like this, remember you can just open it. You could also go this way to this PC. This PC will take you to your different folders as well. But I'll go this way. So quick access, pictures, and now we see all our folders. And if you'll remember, the folder name was Kimbo, so I want to go down to K, I think. Oh, goodness. Where did it go? I'm going to sort by name. That'll alphabetize it. It'll put numerical names first, so the 2s, and then it should put everything else in the alpha order, starting with A's. There it is, the Kimbo New subfolder, and there's the picture. So that's how we can go look at it. But since that's a fake folder with a bad scan, I'm going to right-click it. I'm going to delete it right now and get rid of it. But if that were the folder you wanted to create, you would not do this. You would not delete it and get rid of it. Okay, so I'm going to close the file manager. And that's how we scan. Let me pause a second, make sure I've addressed everything in here before I stop the video. Yeah, it looks like everything's in order. We talked about saving your scan folders to the folder you want and making sure they're JPEGs. And you know, another thing I didn't mention is it's good to go into that folder, and remember it auto pops up the folder. So when it does that, it might be good to go check the properties. So let me click scan one more time. It's JPEG. Look how it's changed the location. Oh, it changed it because I deleted that folder probably. I'm going to browse and I'm going to go to pictures. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more scan and just show you how to check that the scan is doing what it's supposed to. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one into the Feb 2019 600 DPI folder that you'll probably start using. So I'll go ahead and get that reconnected. And I'm going to scan this picture in It's basically, there's nothing in the document table. So it's going to scan kind of a blank thing, but it's still making a picture out of that. And we're going to check that the settings seem right. We're going to look at the properties of the scanned image. That's a good practice. Just at least when you first do your first few scans during a session, especially a new session. So there's what I just scanned. And if I hover over it, you can see it's a JPEG file and that it's 2 megabytes in size. And you can hover over these other items in here and see they're JPEGs of, you know, various sizes. So that's the main thing I wanted to see, was that it was a JPEG. And I'm going to go ahead and delete that fake scan because it is blank. And that's another blank one there that I'll delete as well. Okay, so that's a good practice, is kind of on the back end after the scanning is done to check the type. All right, enough.